Val's Pictorial Weekly. Val's Pictorial Weekly. Dozy. Dozy. They're trying to charge him in America with the Security and Exchanges Commission in the name of Mnobuosi Odogwu Beni. I'll spell that for you because I'm not so good at this African pronunciation. M, big M, small m, O B U O S I O D O G W U B A N Y E. But he's known as Dozy Mnobuosi, and he even goes by Dozy Mnobuosi. He was born on the 7th of April 1979. He's now, apparent to this, 43 years of age. I don't know whether that's right or not. But anyway, Dozy had several companies. He started off by going to university in some part of the jungle. I don't know where it was, over in Nigeria or something, and he got a degree in political science. Oh my God, he'd be well placed in Ireland, I'll tell you. He'd be well placed anywhere in the EU with political science. Excuse me here, I had a cap on me all day today, doing jobs and going around enjoying myself, and my hair's a bit unkempt. But anyway, he got a degree now, I'm telling you, so he did. And he turned around then and he went to China, and he saw a factory in China or two, and he seen them making mobile phones. You know, my granny used to always say that the yellow man will rule the world. And when you think of it, irrespective of the Chinese economy, I mean, all our information technology, all our smartphones, all our small phones, flap phones, all our laptops, everything like that, tablets and all this stuff, I mean the computer tablets, all comes from China. So this is when the great and the good of the World Economic Forum all try to make fools of us. We can see the truth on YouTube and Rumble and all of them, and BitChute on a Chinese device. Do you get me point? It's really upsetting the powers that be in Europe and North America. In any event, the Dozy started up a company he was a serial entrepreneur. He started up a company in Nigeria. And first of all, he was making mobile phones that could do financial transactions. You know, you could come along and transfer money, and you give all your banking details, and the next thing was you could transact and things like that. You know what I mean? I'm not going any further there now. But anyway, a great entrepreneur. You know, he really was. And he turned around then, and he had a weather forecast for the farms. He could help the farmers with a weather forecast, and that's the same as our Minister for Energy, Eamon Ryan. In Dublin, he's the Minister for Energy. He can predict the weather in 50 years' time. And not alone that, he can actually tell us and implement policies that change the weather. So Dozy, he wasn't just as quick, as smart as our Eamon Ryan, in the Irish Minister for Energy, who has a degree in commerce, you know. But see, that's the commerce come in there. You see, he can tell the weather in 50 years' time and actually change it in 100 years' time. When he's dead and gone, or we're all dead and gone, the weather that people will be having in 100 years will be all caused by Eamon Ryan. Isn't he some genius? Well, anyway, this fellow was advising the weather as well to the African farmers and all of that. And they said that his net worth was 7 billion euros. And he was listed on the New York Stock Exchange and the Nasdaq Exchange as a serial tycoon billionaire. He was serenaded all over the place. And he made one little mistake. He put a bid on Sheffield United. He said that soccer unites people. It unites people. I mean, still, if there's two teams playing against each other, they're opponents. They're not the same. Maybe I don't know. He said it unites people, and he had this philanthropic. Is that the word? Philanthropic gene in him, and he decided he'd bail out Sheffield United, and he said he'd buy it for an amount, and he'd pour in a few million, and it's not quite clear did the million come in, but definitely the promises of millions come in. And Sheffield United is in a bad old way financially. They're looking for someone to bail them out and all of that kind of thing. But the next thing is that he turned out and he was listed in the NASDAQ, and didn't some gidger, some beggars get a suspicious old crank, a begrudging old hooer, that's all he was. He decided to do a due diligence on him. He decided to do a due diligence. Due diligence. Oh my God, that's a queer one. Oh, due diligence. Sure, who'd stick that? No wonder the farmers are marching on, protesting all over Europe with all this due diligence going on. But the due diligence was that you know what they had the cheek to do? They came over to Nigeria, a country that's known for the fairness and the honesty and the righteousness of its population. Now, none of the black lads in Ireland will talk to me. When I said to them, why won't you talk to me, and have the crack to say, you don't try to impose your way of life on us. We're different to you. I said, please yourself then, so hump off. But I had a black friend in New York. I used to go over and out for a bit of a I used to go for a bit of a piss up, tell you the truth, in Queens Boulevard and Charlie's Sports Bar in New York, and Sean Oaks and all that. Sure, I was mad going drinking and a bit of crack. But anyway, this chap, I was a friend of mine, and we used to go out for a beer together. He'd drink vodka, but the one thing about him was, and he was a nice lad. Now we go on well. We were dumped out of a few places that said we were causing rows, and we weren't really causing any rows. I did call him a name which wasn't very complimentary, and he called me a thick Irish paddy. I mean, he insulted me like, oh, what was I supposed to do? You're a thick Irish paddy. You're a thick Irish paddy with your leprechauns, he says to me. I told him I told him a thing or two about where he come from, and what I thought of him, and about a group. There was a tribe in Africa called the Hounded. And a friend used to tell me this piece, and there was this Dr. Livingston was going over to investigate Africa, and he was crawling through the long grass, and he had a big pair of binoculars with him like this, and he was climbing along, going along, and he looked up, and here he's seen these native men, and they had shields on them and spears and feathers all over the place, and he got afraid, and he decided he'd introduce himself, and he says, I'm Dr. Livingston from England. Who are you? And the lads didn't believe him. Dr. Livingston. And they said, listen here, who the fuck are you? Who the fuck is? So he called them the who the fuck is. I don't know whether they're there yet or not. Anyway, I told that joke to him, and he didn't like it. He took offence. Well, we made it up. We drank a couple of bottles more, and we made it up. So he's the best of a fella. Oh, if you get a good black man or a black woman, no bother, they're all right now. You want to watch some of them, especially the ones that's presidents' wives and that. You could be in for a surprise. Like if you drop the hand too much, you want to be very careful where you're going. But I can't say too much. So you have to be very careful. Anyway. Dozy Mnobuosi made a huge mistake. When the scandemic was on, he had a right to come to Ireland and meet Stephen Donnelly, our Minister for Health. And you know the way with all this climate change and solutions, they have all this solution, wind energy, solar energy, thorium, iodine, nitrogen, hydrogen, ammonium. That was when you put down and explain to them none of those schemes work, they come up with something new. Well, he should have come in when they were doing the vaccines. I never took any vaccine, and I'm still here. He should have come in, and he should have had his own elixir. He should have something like an elixir, like Benylin for the cough. That's where I got the cough. I knew an old fellow was addicted to Benylin. But it's good for going to bed if you have a cough or that. But anyway, he should have made up. I'd have told him what to do. Woodward's grape water. It's fake. Cardiology stuff for babbies with a cough, or with the grape or the colic, or when they're rifting and farting and all that. Half of that and half a liquid paraffin. And you give that to Stephen Donnelly and that Dr. Hoonan, and you tell them that'll cure the COVID. And they'd have bought millions of bottles of it. They'd have bought it, they'd have paid you €10 a pop. You had made over there in Africa, and call it jungle juice. Jungle juice. That's the right stuff. That's the right stuff. There was one time they were given angel dust to the clenbuterol to the farmers, and the farmers were feeding it to the bullocks, and it was turning the bullocks into aggressive bulls. And they'd be in a field where there was a tree, and they'd charge the tree and hit the tree and knocked a few trees over, big bulls. But that was outlawed. There was terrible trouble over that. But then they were out a new one they said wasn't as aggressive, and they called it jungle juice. It was clenbuterol as well. In any event, I digress a bit. But that's the mistake Dozy Mnobuosi didn't do. I'd say it's a bit too late now. They're looking for him in America, and he's just absent. You know, didn't run away now. No, he's the best of a fella. You know, he's a genius. He's a genius. You can look him up there on the thing, and you know, there's his picture there. If I can get it up here. There he is. There he is, Dozy Mnobuosi. Dozy Mnobuosi. Dozy Mnobuosi. There he is there. The old Dozy. I'd have done well here. The Egypt Simon Ryan. He could have given him a dose that'd make more wind, and he'd make more wind energy. Anyway, to finish up, when the Securities and Exchange Commission came over to view this phone factories, he had 2 phone factories in Nigeria making mobile phones with all these extra apps that could collect money and forward money and do all kinds of things with money. They found the 2 sheds were empty. There was no one in them at all. And then they checked his bank account. Now, it's not true to say he didn't have an arsenal's trousers. You know what that means in Ireland? To say that a lad didn't have an arsenal's trousers in Ireland means that he had nothing. He didn't have anything. He didn't have even the price of sewing a patch on the backside of his trousers, to make it simple. But that's the way we talk over here in Ireland. In any event, he had $15. He had $15 in his account. So don't be going around saying Dozy Mnobuosi had nothing. He had $15. No, not 15 million, $15. But they said he had 7 billion originally. And Sheffield United was buying him. Oh, how come none of these television programs with Gary Lineker and all these woke lads didn't spot this? All the talking to do. Never quit talking. Anyway, folks, we'll see you back for something else. This is Val's Pictorial Weekly. And just before I go, Bill that I knew in America, in New York, he used to make the point to me about Tarzan. Do you remember Tarzan? Oh, and he had Mrs. The woman was Jane, and she never nagged him. Oh, what? It's totally artificial. He never got one nagging in all his time with her. Anyway, Bill used to say, how come this white man from Europe or America can go over to Africa and talk to the animals, and they can talk to him, and we're there for 50,000 years and we can't talk to them at all? He used to make the point. Do you know? It was a good old point. I'm going to try and play out the signature tune again, my old tune here. If anyone knows what it is, do go ahead, right? So. Dozy Mnobuosi. Bye.